Again, and Senator Mastriano is going to need to run back to the Senate, so we'll get him up here to say a few words before we have our next expert that has traveled in from Pittsburgh today to share with us. So, Senator Mastriano.
Thank you, Representative Metcalf, for hosting this and for including me in this important event. That we're having this discussion about medical freedom in Pennsylvania is a bit bewildering to me. It's very clear with our constitutional freedoms, both at the national and state level, that you should have these inherent rights. And it's bizarre to me that people are willing to cast aside their own personal private decisions based off the edicts of bureaucrats that have proven to be so wrong over the generations and especially over the past year. You know, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are God-given rights that no governor, no president, no bureaucrat can strip away. But these rights will vanish if we don't fight for them. We have to defend them. We have to value them. We have to protect them. It's just not going to be there. If you allow bureaucrats to trample on your freedoms, they'll take it away. We have life and a right to it, not because of Wolf or any bureaucrat gave it to us, but because God gave it to us. That's what our Constitution says, and it's there to safeguard those freedoms that are God-given. The Pennsylvania Constitution even goes further and says that we are all born equally free and independent and have certain inherent and indefensible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life. It's your life. It's ironic to me that the political left wants to squash dissent and discussion and debate. As somebody with 5 advanced degrees, I'm bewildered at social media and their little fact checkers think they're smarter than the doctors I have behind me here. Why can't we have an open and free discussion and discourse of information? Why do they have to call debate and dialogue and discussion and label things they don't like as fake news? A fact checker, some 17-year-old kid in a basement says this is not true. This is ridiculous, and they need to be held accountable. You think about Ronald Reagan when he said the most dangerous, fearsome words that were ever spoken is somebody comes up to you and says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That is true. And you think about Governor Wolf and Levine, and I'm going to bring it down a couple notches here to show you how fallacious and ridiculous this whole thing is. We have a governor and a secretary of health who say the most dangerous place in Pennsylvania is between the reception area and a restaurant and getting to that table. You better have a mask on in that 15-minute dash, otherwise that COVID is going to get you. It's going to get you. You sit down, though, suddenly and magically you're good. I mean, what a bunch of science-denying nonsense here. You think about this, and it's laughable, but it's like an SNL skit. You've got to be kidding me. And then, God have mercy on your soul, according to our governor and his failed secretary, if you order an adult beverage and don't have food with it, because you're dead. But if magically you get some food with that, you get a side of nachos, you're good to go. But that's only good until 10 o'clock. And then magically the governor has declared that after 10 o'clock, if you have a drink, you're dead. But thank God that the governor has magical powers. These science-denying, I'll stop there. They worked out a deal with COVID. You can have a drink until 11, but you're dead unless you have food with it. But you better stop drinking at 11, even with food, because COVID's going to get you. This is utter nonsense here. I just can't make this stuff up, but clearly our governor is making this stuff up here. You know, we have the fear-mongering here, and leave it up to the governor and his leftist policies to politicize everything. Politicizing masks. If you want to wear a mask, wear one. I wish we knew during the Cold War. Darryl, you were in the Cold War with me, brother. You remember all the training? In case the Soviets attacked, we were going to fight in a nuclear, biological, radiological, chemical environment. NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical. And we had to put on these massive masks with hoods and mop suit and shoes and gloves and trying to operate for hours on end during refrigerator exercises in case the Soviets used chemicals or biological weapons on us. I wish I would have known that the infinite wisdom of Wolf and Levine, all it took was a face diaper to protect you. It would have saved us lots of pain and trouble during the Cold War, knowing this, all the Soviets' nuclear, biological, and chemical capabilities were off or not because you just put a little face diaper on and you're good to go. Who would have known? You just can't make this stuff up here. So will you trust government bureaucrats who say that it's a good idea to send COVID-positive patients back into nursing homes? And it's still happening 7 months on. And 68% of all Pennsylvania deaths are as a result of this failed policy of our incompetent Secretary of Health. This is the kind of person that wants to make these personal, private, intimate health decisions for you. Do you really trust them to do that? Even with the science and data in, it was a bad policy. It's resulted in a lot of deaths, and still they persevere in their folly. What happened to my body, my choice? Or is that only relevant when it's somebody else's body, a baby, and you could kill the baby, but when it really is your body and they want to inject something into you, you don't have a say? I'm tired of government coercion. I too, like Darrell, was in the Army and was subjected to all sorts of things injected into my body and pills given to me. I remember during Desert Storm, we were given 2 sets of experimental medications. One was called PB tabs to protect us against Saddam Hussein's nerve agents, and that had a severe effect on us. We had to take these pills every day. And another one was a treatment, experimental drug against some sort of anthrax that they were afraid Saddam Hussein would dump on us as well. And there we were, we had to sign a waiver saying we voluntarily took that, with my squadron commander standing there with his arms crossed, Lieutenant Mastriano in a desert getting ready to go into Iraq. He's like, yeah, I'm really not gonna say no to that guy here, probably get a court-martial. And it's that kind of coercion now we're seeing with civilians, and you should have the freedom to say no. Why should any bureaucrat be able to step in and say, you have to put this in your body? No, you do not. You're an American, and we have to exercise those freedoms. And the intimidation, the bullying, the labeling needs to stop. Nurses chasing you in the elevator and try to categorize you as an anti-vaxxer, that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. Stop. It's our choice. And if there's any shadow of a doubt, you should be given the benefit of the doubt. You and you alone should have medical freedom over your body. I can't believe that I even have to say that, but that's the point we've gotten in Pennsylvania, and it's time to reassert our freedoms and walk as free men and women. God gave you this life. He didn't give your life to the governor unless you want to give those choices over to the governor. He didn't give your life to the Secretary of Health, thank God. God gave it to you. But you have to walk as free people. You have to assert yourself in those freedoms. The past few months have exposed the corruption, hypocrisy, and deception of many in the left, but especially many in the medical profession who don't want to have an honest debate and discussion and dialogue about these hard issues. And if one person suffers, we need to have this dialogue. It should not be cast aside with name-calling and anti-science, and actually all the anti-science I'm seeing from those who are pushing these agendas. And I'm also disgusted by a media who's complicit and looks the other way and participates in the shutdown of a debate. They're an integral part of our republic, and they need to exercise their accountability and oversight of all this here, in addition to what we do in the legislative branch. So it's time that we choose to walk as free people and tell the governor and the secretary and any other bureaucrat that you are a free man and woman and you'll make your own choices, irregardless of their opinion. Thank you once again, Representative Metcalf, for leading the charge in this valiant endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Doug Mastriano, who's got to head over to the Senate floor. I know if your man's going to stay here still letting your folks on your site know what's going on, or if they can't, if your man's leaving with you with the streaming, any of your viewers would be able to go to, I don't know if you're still streaming or not, would be able to get to repmetcalf.com. We're still going to be streaming there for the rest of our presentation. Thank you for joining us today and making time out of your schedule.